This video is brought to you by Patreon. What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, it's back, all thanks to my lovely patrons. Today's video was suggested by Ender's Other Game. He wanted me to build a half-staggered fuse Clapton. So a very special shout out and thank you goes to you, Enders. And with that, I have done a full staggered fuse Clapton in the past. I thought I was well beyond that at this point, but here I am today going back to it and trying a half stagger, which is basically one side staggered, the other side just a regular piece of wire. So let's go ahead and get the show on the road. If you guys want to suggest a build or just support the channel, then please consider donating to my Patreon. The link is right down there in the description below. It would mean the world to me. Thank you guys very, very much for all your continued support. But in any case, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and build it up. All right, guys, so here we have the very beginning stage of our half stagger wire. So we're going to be using some of this stuff today, some Anarchist 26 gauge and some 36 gauge Twisted Messes Nichrome 80. There we go. So let's go ahead and get our piece of wire ready. We're probably going to need, I think I'm going to do two separate sections, one on camera and one off camera, because that gets boring. So yeah, let's go ahead and grab some of this wire, if we can find the end of it. Oh, it's right there. Boom. So we're going to do like two 1 foot sections, I think. I think that should be good. Let's just trim that right there. Boop. First thing, bend the corner 90 degrees and put it in the chuck of the drill. By the way, these are not really tutorials. Like, you know, I'm just trying to build these things. I have to watch other people's videos and stuff before I do it. So I'm just kind of trying my best. So first thing is straighten that piece of wire. Basically what I'm trying to say is maybe I'll screw up, maybe I won't. You never really know with me. So next thing we're going to do here is just take about a 6-inch length of this 36 gauge outer wire. Whatever you're using as outer wire, that's the gauge you want to use for this part here. We're going to trim off a little piece like that. I know it's very, very difficult to see, but you're going to loop it around and you're going to twist it together. So just twist it by hand here. It doesn't have to be neat or anything like that. And you'll see exactly why we're doing this in just a second here. All right, so now what I'm doing is I basically just wrapped my outer wire around this piece right here. And we're going to insert that into the chuck of the drill. Just like that. Clamp it down. And we're going to trim off any excess that we have outside here so it doesn't get in the way. And we're going to do a few, just a couple manual, or not manual, but just a few regular Clapton wraps. Just like that. Nothing too crazy, just want to get it started so that you have something to work off of. The next thing you're going to do is take that Clapton piece back out of the chuck and put the loop over the top of it like that, and then we're going to put it back in the chuck. So now we have this free hanging piece right here that we're going to just stick in between the wraps of the piece that you already Claptoned. And basically what you're going to do here is hold the spool with one hand and that piece of wire all at once. It's a pretty difficult process, I'm not going to lie. It can be a bit frustrating, so just stick with it. Make sure you get that loop right in place and hold the tension fairly tight. Make sure it's positioned just right. You got to get that tension just right. Once everything's good to go, then you can start your Clapton. All right, so now that we have one of our spaced Claptons, that's going to be for one coil. I think I have enough here, or I'm definitely sure I have plenty of wire for at least one coil here. I actually ended up having to take off the little piece of plastic or the tape that was on my spool because it kept getting caught. So with that being said, yeah, definitely a good idea if you want to make these things perfect. So let's just remove that one from the chuck and we'll do it all over again. All right, guys, so now that we have our spaced Clapton wire, we're going to parallel it with another piece of just bare 26 as I have here. And we're just going to take those, put them together, and then pop them in the chuck of the drill. Like so. That's looking good. And I know you guys can't really even see this, but I'm going to try to show you as best as I can here. Now we're going to take our 36 gauge wire and start our fusing process. So the first couple wraps do not matter whatsoever, so we're just going to slap them on there like so, because this whole part is going to be messed up anyways. But This is going to be a very slow process here, very boring, and I don't know, I'm probably going to just speed this up or, you know, do whatever, but you know what? I will show you a picture of the end result here, so you guys can see what's going on. But that is what you should expect. Not my best spacing job whatsoever, but it's pretty darn close. It's going to be good enough to make a decent set of coils here. I haven't done this in a very long time. I actually did a video on staggered Claptons way back, but I haven't done one in a very long time. So in any case, let's go ahead and spin up this wire here real quick. I'll hopefully get a little bit on camera for you guys so you can kind of see it. But let's go ahead and get started here. Alright guys, so I've got my 3mm bit here. That's what we're going to be wrapping around today. So let's just go ahead and get this thing going here. Let's just insert our wire into the jig, just like that. And I'm actually going to be using my little nylon pliers just to get these wraps nice and straight and the wire nice and behaving. And it doesn't gnarl up the wire. That's why I really like these things. But these even have seen better days. All right, so that's 2. I think we're gonna do 5 wraps today. 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, I got plenty of wire. I've got enough for another set of coils in here, I think. So maybe we'll have to experiment with this wire during the week or something, and I'll come up with something pretty nifty to do with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip it off as close to the coil as I can without being super duper short. Leave us a little bit of lead space there, and I'll give you a quick little close-up look at it. And there we have it, a half-staggered fused Clapton. It's pretty. And I'm looking forward to vaping on it, seeing how it vapes. So there we go. Let's go ahead and do another one of these. And let's go ahead and install them. So we're going to offset these a little bit. I'm going to do this one on the outside and the inside like that. And then I'm going to do the opposite, or well, the same, I guess, for this one. So outside and inside. Don't want to leave too much room here. You want to leave these coils really high up because of the positioning of the airflow. So I think that's going to be pretty good. Let's just get our bit back through, and don't hit the fire button, obviously. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I think that's going to be good once we tighten them down. So let's just go ahead and tighten them down first. Okay, so our coils are tight. Now we're just going to position them a little bit nicer and make them look pretty. So just kind of bend them, shove them together like that. Just got to force it into submission. You know, sometimes you got to show it who's boss. You don't have to be super gentle with them. Actually, that looks pretty darn good. Honestly, that was pretty easy. So let's go ahead and clip our leads, and we'll get tuning these bad boys. So there we go. On that side, that's the easy part. Clip and snip, just like that. The underside of these is going to be the difficult one, so lift up on them, try to move that piece down a little bit and get our clippers in there as close as we can. Ooh, this is not easy, you guys. Okay, it was a little bit easier than I anticipated. You guys, make sure you give your coils a nice little bath. I've got a bunch of little pieces of wire bits in the bottom of this RDA that I don't want shorting out my build deck. So real quick, I'm just going to go to the sink, give them a bath, and we'll be back in a second. All right, guys, so these things have been ran under the sink, and they are ready to be fired up. So real quick, before I turn the ohm reader on, if you have a guess of what this ohms out to, leave it down in the comment section below. I want to hear your guys' guesses. I'm going to say somewhere in the area of 0.13. That's my guess. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oh, it's 0.12 to start, but that's definitely not the final resistance here. So you could be right still. Don't worry, you guys. Let's just go ahead and tune these things up. Yeah, I think these are going to end up a little bit higher than my guess. 0.15 is still pretty good, though. All right, I'm going to call it there. It ends up being a 0.16 ohm build. So for those of you that said 0.16, you are the big winners, and you win a hug. So if we ever meet in person, you get a free hug. There you go. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and wick these bad boys. Alright guys, so it is wicked and dripped and ready to vape. It's sitting on top of the Mech Life Arcless mod right now with a fresh 21700 in there. So let's go ahead and see some vapor production. Well, the ramp up time is very quick, I must say. Not a ton of vapor, but you know what? I think it'll get the job done. So let's go ahead and go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about this build some more. Alright guys, so what do I think about this build? How's the ramp up time, the warmth, the flavor, all that stuff? Let's go over it real quick. So first and foremost, let's talk about the difficulty of this one. This one is an intermediate build. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. It took me a couple of tries to get the spacing right and all that. The tension is absolutely crucial on this one. I know the close-ups really didn't do it any justice, but you really have to get the tension just right between your finger and thumb and just get that pressure on the spool absolutely perfect. Otherwise, it's going to bind up and you're going to have a nightmare on your hands. So with that being said, I would only suggest this one for somewhat experienced builders. If you can build a Clapton and a fused Clapton, then maybe give this one a shot right after that, because it's kind of using a lot of those skills. As for the ramp up and ramp down time, the ramp up is very, very quick. That's actually the first thing I noticed the very first puff I took off of this one. And with that, I have a feeling it has to do with the lower mass of the wire. Now in the close-ups, it doesn't really do it justice because my ohm meter tester battery is almost dead, but with a fresh 21700 in the Arcless, this thing absolutely rips. The ramp down time is very short as well. Again, I feel like this has to do with the lower mass of the coil, and the vapor production is excellent as well. I'm getting a full lung draw off of this thing with almost completely wide open airflow on the Turk V2, which is definitely something to say because this thing has airflow for days. And probably the most important question, how's the flavor? Now, currently I'm vaping some of this Ultimate Puff soda line, Black Currant Crush flavor. This is one of my new favorites. I brought 4 bottles back from the UK and I am absolutely in love. I've already gone through 3 of those bottles, so this is my last one. But with that being said, I know this flavor in and out, and I am getting really good flavor reproduction right now. I would say, if anything, it brings out some of the more kind of tart and sour notes almost. I would put it right up there with like a fused Clapton or a staggered fused. I think that's pretty logical there, but as far as being close to an alien coil, it's close, but I would say that aliens just ever so slightly edge this one out. But in any case, let's just go ahead and take a couple more puffs on this thing, and then we'll sign out. Don't forget, if you want to suggest a build or just support my channel, then please visit my Patreon. Link is right down there in the description below. But that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Leave your comments in the box below and check out the links I've got in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.